All right, y'all. We are back for another very special edition of the Run the Jewelz podcast show and vidcast series. I'm your host, Julian Smartrimple here. We are locked and loaded for this season with a ton of great episodes in store for you all. And so, if this is your first time joining us on Wisdom or on Twitter Spaces, that's getting some exclusive behind the scenes early access to our episode today. We appreciate y'all, Wisdom listeners and Twitter listeners listening for our episode today. But if this is your first time, you are one of our smart jewels that we are inducting you into our community as our listeners. But the RTJ Lifestyle Show was created to spread inspiration to young professionals and millennial entrepreneurs who want to learn wisdom on how to shine brighter in their careers or their businesses. And so if you are a millennial, if you're a Gen Zer, or even if you're a baby boomer, still got love for the baby boomers out there. We appreciate y'all rocking with us today. If you are interested in being a few guests on the RTJ show, please fill out the link that we're putting in the comment section below to fill out one of our guest interest forms, and our team will look through and see if you have what it takes with a phenomenal testimony, or if you are a young professional or business owner that is blazing the trail in your career or your industry. We appreciate all of our VIP jewels who have already been a part of our ongoing seasons from season 1 now to season 5, you all. And so shout out again to all of our VIPs who have been on the RTJ show thus far. You can listen to our podcast on all podcast streaming platforms. Listen to your favorite music artists or podcasts. We are also here on Wisdom. We're on Twitter Spaces and also on any podcast streaming platform. Just search for the Run the Jewelz Show, and you'll be able to listen to some of our episodes that we previously recorded in the prior seasons. And so, again, if you have any questions for my very special guests, feel free to ask in the comment section, or if you're on Wisdom or Twitter Spaces with us, feel free to come on to the stage and ask any questions you may have on the subject at hand, and we'll be able to get to the questions shortly. This is a live Q&A show, and so feel free to ask any and all questions on the subject, which we will be covering today. Today's subject matter is what it takes to become a successful virtual mail assistant. And so we're going to be talking with a very special guest who I came across his page on LinkedIn. Shout out to LinkedIn, who literally was doing some great things and marketing his services and also himself. And I know that I don't come across a lot of male VAs. And so I reached out to him and asked him, can he come talk to our audience today about what it takes and what is the process to be a successful virtual mail assistant. And so he goes by the name of Darien Hubbard, and he's going to be talking to us today about his journey and also his process in being a VA. And so without further ado, if you're a business owner, if you're a young professional that is looking for VAs to help make your job and your business flow easier and be more efficient, you won't want to miss today's episode with Darien Hubbard. And so I'm getting ready to bring on Darien to the stage so you all meet him. And so, Darien, how you feeling this morning, King?
Hey, pretty good, pretty good. Thanks for having me. Thanks for the introduction as well.
Absolutely. We appreciate you taking the time out to drop the jewels with us today, King. But what we usually start off with our guest, plus a little bit about your background, Darien, and also where's your hometown and where are you streaming with us today?
Yeah, so I was born and raised here in close to Atlanta, Georgia. Currently live in Rex, Georgia, sort of the country, but it's south of Atlanta. Have a background in mass communications, graduated in 2015, so time is flying by. And I started my VA journey a year and a half ago. Really started getting serious about January of 2022. So really been kind of putting it in full gear about a year now. So
Okay, that's cool, man. Definitely shout out to Georgia. I know we're based here out of Atlanta too, but definitely we always are giving shout outs to any of our local AT aliens or local Georgians. But tell us, like, how did you get into the VA side of business? Like, what is your background career wise that you came from previously? Even maybe what you came into the workforce industry with, and tell us, like, how did you pivot into being a VA?
yeah, that's a good question. I get that question a lot as well. So I have I graduated, like I said, in 2015. And so I was having, a hard time, a challenge finding a decent job. So kind of entered into the airport industry. I was doing a lot of customer service, working for the airlines, the airport. Specifically, I worked for Spirit Airlines. I know it kind of gets a bad rap. So I kind of had to deal with a lot of different personalities and things like that. But customer service experience was pretty good. Or being able to get that experience was good for me. But make a long story short, I was doing that for about 3 or 4 years. And so last year I was thinking about different ways to make money, possibly just taking on a different job and career. So I was reading a book. It's a Grant Sabatar book. It's called Financial Freedom. Just trying to look for ways to make more money. And so he was talking about different side hustles. And I was like, okay, what's something that I could possibly get into to make some additional income? And so make a long story short, I mentioned VA services. So I went on his website and kind of looked at what it required, what it entailed. I was like, okay, I can do this to make some extra money. So I started doing it, landed my first client. It was okay. Then I landed my second one. I was like, wow, this is pretty cool. I could see myself doing this full time. Then I landed another one, and then I went ahead and made the jump to doing it full time, and haven't looked back yet. I started doing it full time in May of 2022. So I left the airport.
Wow.
Yeah, left getting yelled at and cursed out at the airport, and working from home now.
Man, I love it. Shout out to Spirit too. I know Spirit does get a bad rap, but I love taking Spirit, especially with having your penny flights or your penny saver flights. For those that don't know, Spirit does have a lot of travel hacks for those that really do like to travel. And so I know you've I'm sure heard a lot of travelers that still do travel Spirit, despite what the media or the social media sites say.
Yeah,
But stay with that point though too, because I know in dealing with the airlines, you learned, I'm sure, a very fast-paced customer service skill set. So, like, how were some of the engagements that you may have had with staff or with management or even with potential customers that has propelled you to be a successful VA assistant or VA agent?
Yeah, that's a good question. I honestly don't think about that a lot, but actually, when you just asked me that, it kind of helped me think about some of the pros of some of the experiences that I've had. It definitely helped me develop a lot of patience. And that's something that you need in order to build, a successful business. You need a lot of patience with dealing with people. Sometimes, business owners, they like doing things a certain way. So you kind of have to be able to kind of adapt. And so specifically being at the airport, people are missing their flights, and it's really not your responsibility. I mean, you weren't the cause of them missing their flights. It was maybe because they were late. And so now, the whole world kind of shuts down for them. And now it's your responsibility. And so, just being kind of berated and criticized for that. So just developing that patience, that has allowed me to transfer that to being a VA and dealing with business owners. And sometimes, they're not satisfied with certain things, and it may not be your fault, but you still have to kind of adjust and take on that responsibility.
Yeah, I know folks that during the holiday season, especially in the summer, they're always on the go, and they're thinking that the world is going to revolve around them versus around all the other airlines that may be struggling too. And so, like, to stay with that point too, when it came to going into doing your own thing, did you start slowly in doing a couple projects or a couple clients here and there? What provider did you use? Did you use like freelance sites like Upwork or Fiverr? Like, tell us about your process of how you dove in and get your feet wet in the virtual assistant space.
Yeah, so kind of going back to how I discovered the VA industry was through that guy and his website, which he pointed to a website course called the Gina Horkey Handbook website. So I used that to kind of, well, first of all, it took me a minute to actually commit to doing it. I saw the price. I had the money, but of course, you know, sometimes, yeah, I like that. Sometimes you don't want to, the money kind of makes the commitment. You know, once you pay for something, that's when, you know, it shows some level of commitment. So I didn't do that yet. You know, if you want me to kind of mention the price, I can, but I guess I won't do that right now. But so they had like a mini jumpstart course, and I took that. That was for about 3 weeks. Kind of shows you the ins and outs and the foundation of what it takes to be a VA, a good VA. And so I kind of completed that. And then I went ahead and bought the full course, and it takes about 3 months to complete it if you do it correctly, if you put your mind to it. So that's where it started. I took that course, which is a really, really good course. Very exhaustive. It gives you a lot of different resources and kind of points you in the right direction so that you can be successful.
Yeah, shout out to all the courses out there, especially that can be used for our personal development. With that point before we transition, like, how did you know when it was time to invest in yourself? Because of course you were working a traditional 9 to 5, but when did you know it was time to invest in yourself, to try a different lane? And then also, we always talk about this on the show, like, how much did you put aside for your own personal development? Did you just put the money up for the course, or had you put aside a budget to work on yourself or to develop yourself? Like, to us about that process.
Like, just pure personal development, like aside from the actual course. I've always been into personal development, like since like college. And so I know how important mindset is when it comes to especially when it comes to building a business. You know, I was very afraid to actually make that leap from my full-time job at the airport and transitioning into doing my VA services full-time. But so I would read about 10 minutes of a personal development book a day to kind of keep my mind right and make sure that I was in the right frequency to do this full time. And to answer your other question, when my side hustle was able to pay for my bills alone, with it still being a side hustle, that's when I knew it was pretty much time to walk away from my job at the airport. I knew that it would be possible, because then I would be able to use even more hours to keep building my business, which I have been able to do. So I think you kind of have to be, realistic and analyze your situation to make sure you're making a good decision. But at the same time, you do have to have faith as well in your ability. And, you can't see the future. Sometimes you can't see the future as clearly as you would like to, but that's where the faith comes in, and actually doing the research on making it possible.
Yeah, no, that's real right there, King. You gotta have the faith, and also You got to believe in yourself in order to take that next step. And you even said it yourself. You already had the mindset of needing a side hustle in order to have a backup just in case you needed to pivot or even go full time with your side hustle becoming your main gig. And so we're going to talk more about that after our quick commercial break. And then Wisdom listeners or Twitter Space listeners, if you have any questions for Darien, feel free to come onto the stage. We're talking to him about what it takes to become a successful virtual mail assistant today. But we're going to highlight our VIP sponsor for today, you all. Each and every episode, we highlight an affiliate partner or a VIP sponsor that is a business owner that has a product or a service. And so we're going to pull up our VIP sponsor for today, you all, so we can take a look together. And so let's take a look who our VIP sponsor is for today, you all. Shout out again to our VIP sponsor for today and our affiliate, which we actually use for all of our business endeavors, is none other than StreamYard. Shout out to StreamYard. It's a dynamic streaming platform that you can use for any type of streaming purposes that you have for a podcast, that you have for a YouTube show, that you have for even Twitch if you are a gamer. But we use StreamYard for our podcasts and for our Smart Jewelz Network creator community. So we always advocate as our affiliate partner for StreamYard. You can receive an exclusive link that I'm putting in the comment section right now to get a $10 off discount code. Or a discount link by signing up with this link that we have in the chat. And so feel free to check all of their packages that they have. They even have webinars that they've upgraded in the platform app that you can use. And it's seamless and easy. It's not difficult or hard to use like other streaming platforms. But we swear by StreamYard for our business partners and also some of our clients that we work with. And so shout out to StreamYard, who is our VIP affiliate sponsor for today, you all. And so let's go back to Mr. Darien, who was talking to us about the buy-in that you have to make for yourself when you are going into starting a business or even making a side hustle your main gig. And so Darien, talk to us about that last point, King, you were mentioning when it came to finding that you were confident after you took the course. And even tell us how much was the course, just so people can know like how you have to put your money up or shut up, as I like to say on the show, to invest in yourself. How much was the course, and what were your next steps after you felt confident enough to start on your own, getting knowledge?
Yeah, the initial cost was, if I remember correctly, $1,000. Yeah, the initial cost was $1,000, and then a recurring $99 a month But about 3 months in, or about 6 months in, sorry, they canceled the 99 recurring dollar payment. So, and now it's only 500. The initial cost for newcomers is only 500 now. So I guess maybe I got in a little bit too early, but yeah. And what was the last question? I think you had another.
No, that's
question.
cool. That's cool. Nah, it was just in reference to when you were confident enough after getting the knowledge and also the information. Like, what were your next steps? Like, tell us about when you got the information from the course. How did you go into getting clients after that?
Yeah, honestly, I mean, it's still a work in progress. I still feel like I'm learning something new every week about the course. Like it's very in depth, has a lot of resources, and I haven't even like scratched the surface really of what I can learn. Um, but I felt confident after landing my second client. That's what really gave me the confidence that I needed uh, to really make sure and confirm for myself that I could do this full time. Um, but the course, I mean, it teaches you, first of all, it really gives you leads as well. It generates leads for you so that you can pitch to, and if it's a good match, they end up hiring you through the course. But the course, they don't take a fee from what you make from the clients. So that's a good thing about it too, being able to get leads from the course. They send leads every week. So about 5 to 10 leads every week. Um, yeah. And they tell you how to pitch to them. They tell you how to market your business, um, kind of go over what your skills are so that you can kind of, reach your full potential and make good use of your skills and strengths so that you can approach the clients with confidence as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Nah, that's a great point when it comes to pitching and also basically I call it headhunting because I come from an HR and training
Mm.
background. So I think that's even how you and we came across each other's paths through LinkedIn. Like, talk to us about your strategies of how you use your lead or lead generation strategies, and also basically which ones have you seen are successful since you've been doing it. What are some of your strategies that you would tell others to use?
Yeah, definitely. It's great to have a course that sends you leads. I mean, that's you can't ask for anything better than that. But I would say LinkedIn is very powerful because business. I mean, there are plenty of business owners on LinkedIn anyway. Like you yourself were on LinkedIn, and I met you there. So I'm always I'm always scouting and kind of looking for prospects on LinkedIn. I think that's the best way to go, at least when you're first starting. Um, Also, I use Facebook from time to time. There are a lot of Facebook groups out there for virtual assistants and business owners. They send posts in those groups to let people know that they're hiring for a VA. I actually just got hired from a business owner on Facebook yesterday, and I met her through a Facebook group as well. So, there are a bunch of different opportunities out there. Upwork, which I don't use much, but there are plenty of jobs and opportunities for a VA, for a male VA as well. So
Yeah, I know a lot of the clients that we've worked with, and even some of the guests that we've had on the show, they say that there's a ton of different resources that you can use, such as the Upworks, the Fivers, get your feet wet. But you're competing against a lot of folks that are all over the world, especially in
yeah,
India and in the Asian region, that they're steadily on those type of platforms. And so, like, talk to us about the community piece of being around a Facebook group or even the rest of you all VAs who took the course. Like, why is it important to be a part of a community while you're still building up your client base? And how has the community impacted you in continuing your process as an entrepreneur?
yeah. I think community is very, very important. The community within the course that I took is has a lot of different people of various backgrounds and demographics, and we kind of have the same ambition and goals. So if one person asks a question, I could be wondering the same thing. It could be the same question that I've had, but maybe I was afraid to ask it, but someone else did, and so I still have the opportunity to learn. When our coach answers their question. So, and I think it's good to have a good support system as well. Um, I think without it, I wouldn't have been able to kind of move forward and keep going when times were tough. So I've had coaches to kind of keep pushing me on when I wasn't thinking that I was making progress. So community is very important with anything you want to accomplish. It's hard to do. Yeah, it's hard to do it alone.
Absolutely. Sure. Those are some jewels that Darien is dropping on us today. You all, you have to be a part of the community, and you also have to be engaged in that community. You can't just be on the sidelines and wanting to receive information, but not asking questions or even seeking mentorship or coaching. For our wisdom listeners or Twitter space listeners, if you have any questions for Darien, feel free to come on to the stage. But Darien, I know we wanted to speak specifically about the dominance of a lot of queens or females that are VAs versus men or the kings that are VAs. And so to us about what's the ratio that you've seen even from taking the class and the course that you were in, and even from the community base, what would you say is the ratio of men to women VAs? And then also what are some of the things that you learned being a male VA that could help motivate or even encourage some other men that are tech savvy or admin savvy that would want to become VAs too?
Yeah, the exact ratio, that's kind of hard for me to kind of say. I'm not sure about that, but if I could guess, I would say probably about a 10-1 women to female to male ratio. So it definitely kind of for someone, a guy who's just getting into it, they may possibly feel a little insecure about it, which I've had some feelings, come in every now and then about being a male VA, but you just have to keep going and not let that affect you. Because there are different services that you can offer. I mean, graphic design, I would say, definitely has more male graphic designers out there, which is still a part of being a VA. A VA is just a virtual assistant, but a VA can do so many different things. Like you mentioned, tech VA, admin, graphic design, and a plethora of different services. So, I would say don't let it hold you back if that's a feeling or thought that arises in you from time to time, which it will. It's definitely dominated by women, but I would say, sometimes women business owners would prefer a male VA because it's a different, kind of takes on a different relational dynamic. So sometimes it's not a disadvantage. It's an advantage. I've heard women business owners say they don't like working with other women. So
yeah, that's some jewels right there that Darien has given us. It's all about personal preference and even about what the client's wants and needs are. And that's what I was gonna even ask. Do you think it's more of an advantage for you, similar to other career fields where there's not a lot of the same gender that are working, especially even, I think I told you when we were doing our pre-check, Black male VAs. I haven't come across a lot of Black men that are doing a virtual assistant or even operating a VA agency. But do you consider that to be more of an edge that you have in being a Black male VA? And also, how has that assisted you in communicating, whether it with female clients or even your male clients that you have?
Yeah, I actually would consider it an advantage and an edge, because it's different. You don't even a lot of female business owners, they don't see, especially a black male VA. And so I guess it kind of, something new for them. But I'm still, they can sense that I'm committed to what I do and that I want to do good work for them. And they just don't have the chance to hire a male VA a lot of times. And so, but they prefer to hire a male VA. They just don't see them. So that's where I'm able to kind of come in and show them that, I'm no different from the female VA.
No, that's critical, because I know in education, I work in education and training and development. That's basically my bread and butter. But in the elementary level of education, there's literally not a lot of men that are educators on the elementary level. The higher that you get to middle and high school, you'll see, of course, more men, because sports are active in those upper grades. But in elementary, especially if you're a black man, you're sort of like the diamond in the rough. And so a lot of teachers and schools will gravitate towards you quickly, just in being not just a male, but even a black male in the elementary level of the schools. And so it's always ways that you can receive advantages, no matter what your nationality is, your ethnic background, and your gender pool, because there are some diamonds in the rough, and there are also some of those unicorns that we may see in certain industries. And so stay with the point of goals. We talk a lot about goals and struggles on the RTJ show. Darien, like, what were some of your initial struggles that you experienced when you were getting started up and running after taking the course that you've seen, and that you may be able to warn other VAs that are coming up the pipeline about? And like, how did you overcome some of those initial struggles that you faced, and how are you overcoming those struggles still to this day?
Yeah, I would definitely say that the struggles are never ending. But I think that, there's a ladder to the struggles that you deal with. I mean, it's a ladder-like type of situation when it comes to struggles. The first struggle could be landing that first client. The next one could be, landing the second one, and then the third one, and then, client it may not work out. So that's another struggle. But as long as you continue to climb up that ladder, you're still making progress. So, it's not necessarily like just, I wish I could make an example, but you're always going to have struggles. One of the things was, client dropped me, and, I had to make up for that. But, I had to keep pushing through. Also overcoming those insecurities of maybe not having the skills and the experience that you need, but still being able to kind of work with clients. In particular, when I first started, the struggle for me was I didn't have any VA experience. And so a lot of business owners, they only wanted a VA with experience. But, if I don't have, a client, then how can I get experience? But so I had to kind of overcome that and kind of keep on going. And so when I got that first client, then I was able to kind of get the experience by doing the job. So that would be the first struggle that I encountered, the major one that I had to kind of overcome. And sometimes those unpredictable or those rocky income blocks, when, maybe, client leaves, and so you have to get another one. And sometimes you don't know how much you're going to make in a week, but, still being able to be consistent with what you do.
Yeah, that's a major jewel right there. When it comes to inconsistent income, we talk a lot about that. That Darien is dropping some jewels on. When you are starting up or even getting your business up and running, you have to factor in that you are going to be in an irregular income budget category. And so it can be difficult at times to budget when your income is irregular, just like certain sales people that work in sales. And so, like, Darien, talk about that piece. I'm not sure. Are you married or are you single? I forgot to ask you that too.
Single. Yeah, single.
Okay. So even as a single man too, like, how do you budget throughout the month, knowing that your income is going to be irregular? And like, what are some tips or some potential hacks that you can tell others that may be wanting to go into the VA industry? How should they also consider budgeting their finances or their overhead costs?
Yeah, the thing about being a VA is there isn't much overhead costs, and that's one thing that I did research for because I didn't want a business that needed a lot of overhead from the start. So that was one of my criteria for that, and so which is a good thing. But I would say before you go full time, make sure that you save for times where it could be possibly be rocky and challenging financially, which is what I did. Because after I lost like my first big client, I still had enough in my savings to kind of survive until I landed my next one to kind of make up for it. So definitely be prepared and plan ahead for some things that you could possibly foresee that would be challenging financially. So definitely save. And budget well.
Yeah, absolutely. And with that, with the budgeting, let's stay with that point too. Like, do you budget for every 2 weeks? Because I know in a regular job, we talk about finances with any of our entrepreneurs on the show. Like, do you budget every 2 weeks? Do you budget every week? Because I know in the education system, we've only gotten paid once a month compared to other jobs. You get paid twice a month or even more than that. So like, how do you budget your finances to make sure that you are able to still eat, even if waiting on client approval to get your income for certain projects that you're working on?
Yeah, so for the most part, I get paid every week. There was a client where I got paid every month, but for the most part, on average, all my clients pay me weekly. So I usually do my budgeting weekly to kind of keep up with the income paychecks that I receive from them. So it works for me. I wouldn't say that there's a certain way or a right or a wrong way to do it, but for me, it works to do it weekly. And I actually like budgeting anyway, so kind of keeps me afloat financially. Yeah, make sure I'm on top of everything and not spending frivolously on things that I don't need to spend my money on. So.
Yeah, and that's a key component I was going to ask when it comes to what sacrifices have you made in order to make your dreams of being like a entrepreneur or even a business owner a reality, and like what are some things that people who want to go into business for themselves should be expecting to sacrifice? Like, what things have you had to sacrifice for yourself?
Definitely time. I had to sacrifice a lot of time when I was balancing my full time with my VA business part time. A lot of times I would, for the most part, have to work minimum like 70 hours a week, with my full time job and my VA business. So, yes, sometimes you have to sacrifice your time, which is not, it doesn't feel good a lot of times, but that's what it takes in order to be successful at anything you want to do. So. Sometimes I just wanted to just stay in on a Sunday and watch football, but I would have to work on Sundays, work on my business instead. So.
Yeah, absolutely. Outside of time, has there been anything else like your relationships or your habits that you may have that you've had to put aside? I know you talked about football and leisurely doing things, but any other sacrifices that you've had to put up in order to make this happen?
Main thing is just time. And, of course, if you don't have, a certain amount of time, some things you won't be able to do. I actually stopped going to the gym for a minute. I usually like to go to the gym, but I had stopped going, in the mornings, and I would just have to work out for a quick, I couldn't make excuses. I would work out make like a quick 15-minute workout session and then get back to work. But I wouldn't be able to hang out as much, kind of go out and do things that I guess 20-year-olds would do and stuff like that. So, or 20-something-year-olds. But for the
Yeah,
most part,
absolutely.
yeah.
And stay with that point too with the health, because we do tie in the health and wellness component. Like, how do you stay in good health throughout the process, since you're more in the admin space? We hear a lot about the office and shows like that where people may be a little bit not in good health, or not operating in right health mindsets, because they're in the office space or in the admin industry. So, like, talk to us about how do you keep sound health and even your mental health. How do you focus on that as you are in your business?
Yeah, I would say it's actually a little bit easier for me now since I don't, working at the airport, you're surrounded by a lot of fast food places and restaurants and things like that. So, on my concourse next to Spirit, we had a Popeyes chicken place that I was, very frequent at. So, I don't have as much temptation as far as junk food and stuff like that. I'm able to cook more working from home. So, I take advantage of that. Now I'm able to go to the gym. I'm able to go to the gym every morning as opposed to when I was working at the airport. So that's a benefit as well. So, um, being an entrepreneur and a business owner kind of gives you more free time now to, make health a priority, going to the gym a priority. Um, and I don't think there's a challenge for me as far as being in the admin and being in the office. I mean, I do sit down. I have to sit down, 8 hours a day, but I do try to get some sun too. Um, Try to get some sun every day as well. Have to force myself to go out and get some vitamin D.
Yeah, you got to get that vitamin D,
Yeah.
like Darien saying, King. And then finally, before we get to the final jewels, like, how has your family or your friend circles, your support system, how have they either helped or hurt you in this new career that you're pivoting into? And why is it important to have a good circle of foundational support of family or friends when you are an entrepreneur or a business owner?
Yeah, like in the course, it actually mentions that it's good to have a support system, which it is. I would say have at least one or two people that you can talk to when things get rough for you. That's what I had. They were very very supportive of me. I would kind of go to them when things got hard for me, and they would be like my encouragement buddy. So, but I didn't tell many people honestly when I first started, because sometimes people just don't know your vision, um, and so you kind of have to sometimes rely on your own self motivation to get things going. I know a lot of times we want to depend on other people, which is sometimes good, but I would say self motivation is key. A lot of times, that's what really will keep you going and will really determine your success. Um, but after I went full time, my family, they were very proud of me, which was good to know. So helps me to keep going as well.
Yeah, absolutely. You got to have that family component, or that friends that may
Mhm.
operate as your family, in order to lift you up and even to run ideas across too. And so that's very vital for anybody who's wanting to go into business for themselves, like Darien is pointing out. But I know, Darien, we've reached the final leg of our interview today, which we consider our final jewel segment. This is where we allow you, as our VIP guest, to leave a final jewel of wisdom with the audience. You talked to us about how you started off in the airline industry, working for Spirit, and was able to capture a lot of customer service and even admin skills from being in that industry, which pivoted you into the VA or virtual assistant industry. And so, like, what would be a final jewel of wisdom that you would want to leave with our audience today before we let you go, King?
Yeah. Well, I would like to say I do admin and customer service, but since I've been doing it, I've also taken on social media support. So I offer social media services as well, social media management, and also website management as well, like updating. If your website needs to be updated constantly, which they do, I can support you on that as well. So I offer multiple services. Whatever you need, I'm pretty much good to do it for you. Um, I would say my jewel is no matter what, just keep going. I mean, uh, stick to what you want to do. Stick to I'm sorry. Stick to your goals and your vision for yourself and whatever you want to do. You will encounter a lot of challenges, but for the most part, everything is pretty much figure outable and doable, as long as you don't give up. I know it's cliche, but I mean it's really really true when it comes to reaching your goal. No matter how slow you may be going, you'll eventually get there if you don't quit. So it's just all about your mindset and staying positive and believing in yourself.
Absolutely. Definitely gotta believe in yourself at the end of the day, like Darien is pointing out to us, you all. So let's let people know, Darien, how can they follow up with you, King, if they have any questions after today? Some ways that people can solicit your services. How can folks stay in touch with you?
Yeah, pretty easy to stay in touch with and to contact. My LinkedIn is at Darien Hubbard. Just you can DM me, and we'll be able to communicate there, send some messages, and we can set up a time to chat if you're interested. If you're a business owner, I usually target online business coaches who need some community management help, want me to take over on that, and social media and admin as well. And if you have like a flooded email inbox that you need taken care of, I can get in there and kind of clean that out for you. Also Facebook, it's at Darien Hubbard, just my name. Look me up and send me a message. And also email hubbarddarien@yahoo.com. So my last name, first name @yahoo.com. You'll be able to reach me there.
Absolutely. So you can definitely reach Darien on LinkedIn and also on Facebook at Darien Hubbard. And definitely he'll be able to provide any of his expertise for your VA needs. Darien, I know we've reached the last leg, but we always say a special blessing over any of our guests that come on the show to send you on your way. And so if you have been listening with us with our very special VIP guest, Darien Hubbard, who was speaking about the steps to become a successful male VA, feel free to sow a seed into our podcast and our movement. You can sow 3 ways into good soil here from where you're reaping. We always believe in sowing where you're able to reap. And so you can Cash App us at $SMART, SMART, JEWELZ, or you can click the link that we're putting in the comment section to partner with us by purchasing some of our merchandise that we just launched last season. Or you could become a monthly Patreon with us to support our creative movement, especially in going overseas. We're taking international tours right now, going to Africa, going to Asia, going to Central America. And we're taking content creators with us in order to display everything about the country that we're going to, from the economy to the culture, to the music, to the food, to the people, and specifically to the attractions. And so no donation is too small or too large, or no seed is too small or too large. All the names you see at the bottom of the screen on the ticker are ones that have given to us for this current season thus far. And so, Darien, I'm going to say a quick prayer over you, King, and then let you enjoy the rest of your day, if that's okay.
Yep, sure.
Perfect. Father, I just want to thank you for Darien and also for his mission and also his purpose that you've given him We thank you for allowing him to be voice of truth and sharing his experience, and also even sharing some of his struggles and going into being a virtual assistant and being able to build his own brand and his own business. We pray that through his knowledge and wisdom that he imparted unto us today, you will bless him with new clients and new doors and new opportunities to be opened unto him. And we thank you for this time you've allowed him to share. We pray that you will bless him throughout the rest of this year safely and also successfully. I love you, I praise you, and I honor you. And it's in Yahweh HaMashiach, the Christ's name, I pray. Amen.
Amen.
We appreciate you, King, for coming on, man. Definitely we'll be in touch soon. You enjoy the rest of your day, King, and we'll talk soon, man. Peace.
Hey, you too. Thanks for having me.
All right, man. We'll talk.
All right. Take care.
All right, y'all. You just heard from my very special VIP guest, Darien, dropping a ton of jewels on why it is important to hire a VA, and also even why you may be able to consider hiring a male virtual assistant. He talked about steps and also his process of investing in himself to learn the information, to gain the knowledge, and to also even gain the confidence to start. A lot of us, we think that it's easy, like they show you on IG or on YouTube, just to start a business, but that's a lot of cap, as a lot of the young folks say. You got to be able to put in the work and also put the money up, put the bread up, and to not go into debt trying to make your business successful. We don't teach that you should be having a high debt to income ratio just to be able to stunt on YouTube or Facebook or on IG or Snap or on TikTok, because at the end of the day, when your receipts are pulled, when your card is pulled, you are not going to be able to put up or shut up. So it is the jewel that I would recommend is that you start from where you are and do not try to go into heavy amounts of debt just to look like you are successful when people are going to eventually pull your card or pull your receipts. And so if you've enjoyed, again, today's episode with Darien and myself, feel free again to sow a seed with us. You could also follow us and visit us this season at www.smart, SMART, enterprises.org. That's Smart Jewels with a Z, enterprises.org, to get started on your podcast today, and even to find out about what some of our services are that we provide. We are going to the nations this year, as I've already been speaking for the last few years, in literally taking our skills and our talents abroad. And so our first stop is Kenya. Second stop is going to be in Central America, in Honduras. And then we're also going to Japan and Korea with our third stop this season. And so definitely shout out to all of our content creators that are going to be taking this journey with us as a part of our Smart Jewels network. But let us help you. We have a team of dynamic staff and also content creators that can help you expand your audience and also reach new audiences. We provide podcast show creation services or live stream services. We have technical assistants that can help do the bells and the whistles and the behind the scenes of your show or your podcast to be a success. And we also can customize your brand. We have webinar hosting services and also brand consulting services. So just check us out at www.smartjewelsenterprises.org to see what we have in store for the rest of this year. Also, you heard me speaking about it last season with our content creator, Smart Jewels Network, but we even launched our travel agency, our travel group, the Smart Travel Jewels. And so we're going to be dropping jewels internationally, you all, with our group of content creators and even myself and a lot of our other hosts on the network. And so we're taking trips this year and also next year and beyond. You heard me say to Asia, Africa, Central America, and we may even touch South America this year. So if you are not trying to be on the sidelines and you're trying to get in a community, if you're trying to learn from other content creators who are podcasters, YouTubers, or even business owners and entrepreneurs or travelpreneurs, as I like to call those who are travel enthusiasts, you will want to track with us and also go and visit www.smarttraveljewels.com. That's smarttraveljewels.com. Or you can have the link to Smart Travel Jewels by just going to smartjewelsenterprise.org. And so either one of those two sites will take you to our services that we provide. And so we're not playing this year, you all. You can stay in touch with myself on IG along with our business page at Smart Life Jewels on Instagram, or you can follow myself on IG or on Facebook or on YouTube at King Jewelz, Jewelz Speaks. So that's King Jewelz Speaks. And then, as I've been saying, you can visit us at www.smartjewelsenterprises.org. Those are all of my final jewels for thought. Stay hydrated, stay blessed this year in this season. Again, don't be afraid to shine bright like the bright diamond jewel you've been created to be, because someone that is around you needs to see and also needs to feel the light that is within you. And so never be afraid to shine bright in this season or the next, because light also repels darkness. And so you have to be able to shine your light and not be afraid to shine your light when you are amongst others. And so those are all of my jewels for today. See you all next episode, and stay hydrated, stay safe, and stay blessed. Peace.